Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on the Real Estate Podcast. I'm Todd Sumney, the Chief Industry Officer for HomeSmart.
And I'm Rich LaRue, Vice President of Corporate Brokerages, Western Region for HomeSmart.
And welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Podcast. This podcast is designed for real estate agents, realtors, professionals, and designed to help you grow your business, help you learn tactics that you can apply in your business, and really to inform you about things to help you be more successful. And that's why today's episode is entitled How to Be in the Clear and in the Super Grateful Hearts of Your Customers Forever.
That's a long title.
It is a long title, but it's got some meaning to it.
Yes, it does.
It does. And bottom line is, we need to protect our customers because it's just inevitable. The home is the largest asset most people own, and at some point along the way, what happens?
Stuff breaks, man.
Stuff breaks. It does. So I'm going to introduce our guest here in a moment, Jean Antoine with Super Home Warranty, but I want to set the stage a little bit. You and I were talking, I know a realtor recently who purchased a home and, years of experience and just wasn't really thinking it's their own home purchased the home, didn't put the home warranty on it. And within a week or two after the purchase, maybe even within days of after the purchase, all of a sudden stuff broke.
Stuff breaks.
Stuff went wrong.
Yeah.
And it, even was a little bit pricey. And here it is. This is a realtor, someone in the industry for years. And afterwards they were like, I don't know why I didn't do that. I've done this for my clients for years. I just didn't do it for myself.
Yeah, sometimes we take better care of our clients than we do ourselves.
Right. That's very true. And that's where, oftentimes it's ironic too that a lot of this sometimes happens right after the closing. Doesn't it
why
seem
is
to
that?
happen?
I mean,
I don't know why.
Murphy, I guess.
It's Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
So, without any further, that's kind of what we want to talk about is you as the real estate professional, you really have the opportunity to give a gift to your clients, to set them up with protection, success, and while you're doing that, you're protecting you, you're protecting the brokerage, but more importantly, you really are giving a gift to your clients. The majority of people who their real estate agent puts a home warranty on their home when they purchase it, they keep it, they renew it, they use it for year after year after year, and invariably something breaks, and then there's this big, massive feeling of gratefulness.
Yeah.
And who gets the credit?
Agent.
The
agent gets the credit.
The agent
even if they
me.
don't buy it up front. You kind of
Right.
indicated there that you're giving a gift to them. Give them the gift of the home warranty. Give them the gift of the home warranty, even if they have to pay for it. It doesn't make any difference if the seller pays for it or if you, the agent, does it as a gift or the buyer buys it. But put one on there because I want to switch to our title slide here real quick. How to be in the clear. I want to amp that up just a little bit.
Right.
How to reduce your liability. How to reduce your exposure as an agent in the transaction. So have this. But let's move on and introduce John.
I want to be real clear though. I want to say, in my mind, it's imperative. It's important that there be a home warranty on the home when a home is sold. I just believe in it so much, and I think that number one, have the seller pay for it. Everybody wins.
Yep.
But if you can't have the seller pay for it, I do feel like we as the realtors, this is the best closing gift we could give. Mm-hmm. Because invariably this happens, and then on top of it, they're grateful, but they keep it. They keep it year after year, and you want to talk about that top of mind awareness. 92% of people love us in year one, but only a small amount, 12 or 13%, use us again because they lose touch with us. How cool is it that if every month, every year, your name, your information, you're right there, you, the realtor, are connected to this
right.
home warranty with your clients, and they keep it. So I think that, and then the third option, if you don't pay for it as closing gift, then get your customer to pay for it. But
And as
I
a
think it's
designated
valuable.
broker, I want a home warranty on every sale that we do,
Right.
just to reduce our exposure. But
Right. So yeah, let's get back to what you said. Jean, sorry that we have you sitting there in
No,
the waiting room for a minute, but Jean, thank you for
this is great.
being here with
You
us
guys just set the
today.
stage beautifully.
you know, uh, I know you love taking care of realtors. You love taking care of their clients. I've spent a lot of time with you in Atlanta, talking with you, talking about your business,
Yeah.
how you got into the home warranty business, what you love about it. So thank you for taking care of our HomeSmart agents, of our clients, of their clients and their customers. And you guys are really doing some unique things that nobody else in the industry
We
is
are.
doing.
We are.
Yeah, can you dig into that a little bit? Like, first off, what is super? How'd
yeah,
that come
who
about?
Yeah.
who is super? Because I mean, we know you and we know you well, but across the nation, I don't know that super is as well known as maybe some of
Right.
the other brands out there. So,
Right.
who
For
are
sure.
you, and who is super, and what's the difference?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you all for having me and allowing me to talk to the agent community at HomeSmart. You guys have been a great partner for Super nationally, especially in that Phoenix region. So really appreciate the time and being able to talk more about Super. You're right. The name isn't as known as it will be in the coming years. That's for sure. But we are a startup. So we were founded to be a disruptor. Our founder and CEO, Jory Raymer, actually had a personal experience very similar to the one that you just outlined, Todd. He bought a home, had a bad experience. He actually came from technology. So he wasn't in the real estate space. He was in mobile advertising, ended up selling a company, had a great exit. When he and his wife bought a home, they had such a negative experience with their home warranty that he thought there must be something better. So traditional partners or traditional home warranty companies do things a certain way. We felt like we could use technology and integrate and disrupt the space, similar to the way Uber or Lyft interrupted and disrupted the taxi cab industry, similar to the way Netflix disrupted the video rental space. So we're using that to provide a much better experience for not only the homeowners, but the servicers as well. They found that they've grown their business through the relationship with Super as well. And you talked about, being in certain communities. That we were in 7 states, but we actually just had a press release yesterday. So this is great timing, that we had a few acquisitions that opened us up to, I think it's 35 new state markets that we have access to now.
Wow,
through those
great.
acquisitions.
Excellent.
So hopefully we're hearing a lot more of Super. And of course, we'll get into some of the details and how we provide that differentiation. But that's kind of high level where the company started.
Well, and I kind of want to hone in on a couple of those points that you just made. And to our audience, to you real estate agents that are listening, I know you have heard information about home warranties before at your monthly meetings, your regional meetings, or various events around the industry, or even podcasts and webinars, but this is different. I want you to stick around.
Yeah.
I want you to listen and really learn what makes this different. And one of the key things that stands out for me is why we named the podcast How to Be in the Clear, because you have a feature called
Yeah.
In the Clear. If you could explain that, but also you really fit a need in the industry, especially with luxury homes or
Yes.
homes with unique features, key high-end appliances that really make you unique too, meaning with your like for like, programs.
Yeah, the brand for brand on that Lux plan. Absolutely. Yep.
Someone with a Viking or a Thermador oven or stove, and there really hasn't been coverage for those types of things. So I don't want to get too far ahead out over the skis, but
Yeah.
I wanted everybody to make sure they listen all the way to the end of this podcast, because you really are doing some unique and different things,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah, I appreciate you setting the stage for that. And there is a lot to it. And I talk about technology, and when you say that, it's almost like a buzzword. People are like, great, what does that exactly mean for my clients? And at every phase of the claims process, we've used that to provide a better experience. And we can get into that, but I'd love to start where you just mentioned that, in the clear. The example you gave is the perfect one. And that happens so often. Majority of claims that folks have are in that first 30 to 90 days of owning a home. And think about it. They just closed. They just put all this down money on the home. In a lot of cases, they bought new furniture, they had to move. So they laid out a lot of money to get into this home, aside from obviously the investment that you're going to have monthly for the mortgage. Well, now having this huge expenditure for an HVAC, a water heater, that's just going to add some of the pain. And you kind of touched on the fact that, a lot of people are happy in that moment. And you guys have seen the statistics over the last couple of years. After that initial close, there's some frustration there, and people are not as happy as they were when they first moved in. This is definitely one of those indicators as to why. I had an agent that I was working with, the in the clear service that you touched on. This is what allows for people to have that predictability. What this does is allows for an agent or a homeowner to send in an inspection report before closing, and we send a report back showing all of the items that will not be denied due to pre-existing conditions. And we put that in writing. No other company is doing that and providing that level of transparency. And so really easing the tension for a homeowner to know with certainty. It might be a 20-year-old unit, but if it's working properly, I can trust that Super is going to cover it. I had an agent I was working with in Houston, and had sent an inspection report in, selected, I think they had our signature plan actually too. This customer had an AC breakdown the day they were moving in. So they closed, I think it was the next day after closing, the AC broke down the day after. Exactly. And in Houston, I mean, you guys are in Phoenix, so like it's hot out there, and Houston is no different. It gets pretty warm.
We have our personal relationship with our air conditioning units here in Phoenix.
Oh yeah,
and so do you in Houston.
It's an intimate one. It's another member of their family.
True story. I was on a Zoom with someone yesterday in Houston. They said my air conditioning broke this morning. True story just yesterday. And he was like, the humidity is just killing me.
They were probably not wearing the suit jacket.
They were not.
They probably had the T-shirt on.
They were not.
No reason to doing that.
But that's why you call it.
But in this example.
Yeah, keep going.
No, I was just going to say in that example that that client, when they had that breakdown, they already had the in the clear report, so they knew, and it said in writing that the HVAC was going to be covered. So they were able to submit that claim. We were able to expedite the servicer to get out there. And that's one of the advantages too. We talk about technology. When clients submit a claim, it actually gets pushed to our providers within minutes. So on average, most of our claims have a booked time within 16 minutes. So they submit that claim 16 minutes later, they know when a servicer is going to be out there. In this case, the servicer was out there, I want to say the next day or 2 days, and they were able to get back up and running with a cool AC, and they had no out-of-pocket costs other than the copay. So this is the kind of transparency and experience that people expect when they have a home warranty, and this is what we want to deliver for the agents. And you touched on why that's important. They're going to look like the hero. That agent that referred Super and that submitted that in the clear, they're the hero now. The client can call them back and say, hey, I had this great experience with Super. Thank you so much for referring that partner for me. It's great to get a bottle of wine or some cheese plate or something like that as a closing gift, but to save them thousands of dollars, they're going to thank you more.
I agree, and that feeling of gratefulness stays around forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
For a long
Absolutely.
time.
And so, Jean, as a broker, that in the clear report, that's huge, because agents are always wondering what's covered, what's not. Sometimes their agents have submitted a claim, knowing that maybe something is on the edge. Not the agent has submitted a claim, but I know an agent or two has said to a buyer in the past, "Oh, just wait, home warranty will cover that." And then then it does break, but it was in the inspection report that it was weak or already broken, and it's not covered, and then they're upset about it. Right. So my point is that have the inspection, send it in to you guys, get it in the clear, and then you don't have any issues. And what peace of mind does that give?
Absolutely.
When we've got that. So I think it's a great
I think you said it perfectly. That a lot of agents too, I mean, you don't have to be a professional in these inspection reports and trying to interpret what's going to be covered, what's not, what's an area of concern or what's not. You can put that onus on us. We'll take that and be your partner to be able to provide that transparency. But even without it, there's some agents that maybe don't want to send it in, or the client doesn't want to send it in for in the clear. We even have in our terms that even if something is working at the time of the inspection, so we cover unknown pre-existing even without the in the clear. So if they have a breakdown in that 30 days or 2 weeks or whatever the case may be, they can still submit the submit the inspection report at that time, and we'll be able to cover it. Now, you touched on something that does happen a lot, where it is called out as to being an issue on that inspection report, and then it's a known issue. And a lot of times this is a frustration for a lot of folks, and I get it. But it's a lot like buying a car. If you buy a car that has body damage, you wouldn't be able to add insurance and then after you purchase it, submit a claim to insurance and get that repaired. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. Right. It's different with the home warranty. If something's known to be an issue, it has to be addressed prior to submitting a claim. But what you brought up is a good example. And I tell agents all the time, this is a great way to use in the clear. You can actually submit that report and we'll give you a list, like I said, of everything that won't be denied due to pre-existing. But say, for example, there's a leak under the sink, or maybe the AC isn't cooling properly. It allows for you to see exactly what needs to be addressed. Now, it doesn't mean there's not going to be coverage. What it means is they need to just get those things addressed. And a lot of times agents will request for some concessions or repairs or whatever the case may be and get that covered by the seller. So then that way their client knows exactly what to address. And you touched on something, Todd, as well about the renewals. Clients actually love this program. They renew, and we track this data pretty continuously. They renew 33% higher when they use in the clear than when they don't. And our renewal rate's already higher than the industry, and that's within ours. So clients that don't use in the clear the clients that do use in the clear renew 33% higher than our clients that don't. So it's something that they love. Agents appreciate it for everything that you mentioned already. And it's good for us because we can actually provide that transparency up front and not, roll a service or truck out when it's not necessary.
I just started to say that's a super benefit, and then I realized how corny that's going to sound.
Super benefit.
It's an awesome.
We'll edit it out in post.
It truly is. I know.
but back to what you were talking about. Something's broken. Like I know of a home that was purchased, and the the bathtub spout came up over the bathtub, and it wasn't attached at the floor. And so, okay, so that's something that needs repaired, right? Can the customer at that point use the super system to get that repaired, even if they don't necessarily turn that in on their as a claim, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the way. One of the things that I remember, I know you just made a pun about the name, hey, that's super, but I also have heard you say before, super stands for superintendent. It's like having a superintendent taking care of your home.
Right.
So can you talk about that a little bit? About
So
I think that's something that makes you a little different too.
For sure, and it does, and that's one of the goals, the aspirations of the company is we want to be able to provide coverage for everything in the home, similar to the way a superintendent does. We do that right now with our maintenance services. So that allows for a client to be able to get any kind of maintenance done through the house. We do it pre-packaged. So in most markets, we have about 15 or so maintenance services like carpet cleaning, window cleaning, HVAC tune-up, pressure washing, gutter cleaning. They can get all these things done and they're prepackaged. So they go right on their website. They'll see exactly what the scope of work is, what the cost is, and then they can just book that right through our portal. And then they don't have to worry about trying to vet a provider. It's already done through our 4 or 5-star providers. They can book a time and we schedule that directly through our providers as well. So it just provides that convenience. Now, in the scenario you mentioned where something's broken, they wouldn't be able to request directly to have a servicer come out. However, there are times where it's something that's not working. Maybe they submit a claim and it's a pre-existing issue. They can actually submit and we'll provide them like an out-of-pocket expense to get that covered through our wholesale rates. So it allows them to get that work done at a discounted rate and know with certainty that it's going to be covered going forward. So that's a huge benefit, and a lot of clients take advantage of that as well. And that kind of touches on some of the benefit of super as well. When we're looking at some of the differentiators between us and the traditional home warranty companies, when clients do submit a claim with traditional companies, oftentimes what happens is that goes out to the provider, and then the provider has the ability to reach out directly to the homeowner, talk to them about what costs, and they pay the provider directly. And the home warranty company is often out of the conversation. We have a lot of insight into that. So every estimate actually goes to our approvals team. Even if it is something that's a denial, or even if it is something that does have out-of-pocket costs, we're able to see that estimate and make sure that the costs are in line. And that's part of one of the data points that we track for our service providers to make sure they're continuing to maintain a 4 and 5-star experience for our clients. So that's a big reason that, one, we really, with our coverages, we really eliminate, in most cases, eliminate out-of-pocket expense. In fact, 94% of our claims, and we track, this is another thing that we track as a data company, naturally, 94% of our claims have zero out-of-pocket costs beyond that copay. So they pay that, the copay, and that's it. They don't pay anything else. 94% of our claims have that. So that's huge. But even when it is something where there is out-of-pocket costs or it happens to be a denial, unfortunately, they're going to get great rates for that versus going retail. So there's still that added benefit, and we have that transparency to see that versus them not knowing if it's going to be a reasonable cost. So that's a huge benefit to Super as well.
So Jean, I want to go back a little bit, a few minutes or so. We were talking about the brand for brand replacement, which is is very unique in the industry. For instance, we did a remodel recently, and we have this absolutely gorgeous Thermador range. Unfortunately, we sold that house like within the last 4 months, but I missed that kitchen. Anyway, that range, I mean, it was the centerpiece of our kitchen, and if it broke, it was just going to be wildly expensive to repair. First of all, great brand, really love it. But there's other companies out there that wouldn't necessarily, if it broke to the point of it needing to be replaced, they wouldn't replace
you're
it
kind
with
of being
something of that quality, or a Viking or a Wolf, So talk to us a little more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you made a great point. I mean, a lot of people who are in those luxury homes that have Sub-Zero, Viking, Wolf, Thermador, a lot of them self-insure, to be honest, because they don't have the type of coverage available to replace one of those systems. So we offer in our Lux collection, our Lux plan, which is our top of the line plan. It's really meant for those luxury homes, like what sounds like your home was. It offers that benefit. And one of the things in that is that brand for brand. So that brand for brand does two things. One, it guarantees that we're going to replace an appliance with the same brand as what they have. So if they had Thermador as your range was, we're going to replace it with a Thermador. If it's Sub-Zero, it'll be Sub-Zero. The second thing it does is it increases the coverage limit from $3,000 per appliance up to $10,000 per appliance. And as you know, a lot of those systems that have that brand name on it are higher priced. So they're around the 8, 9, 10,000, and sometimes more. So it provides the type of coverage that a luxury homeowner is looking for when they have those type of appliances. And they can even add additional options. Some of those homes have like, a high-end wine cooler, things like that. They can add those as well and make sure that those are properly covered too.
Excellent. I think that's really important. As agents, we need to keep that in mind so that we're not only encouraging our clients to have coverage on their home, but enough coverage so that they don't get caught with a substandard appliance replacement.
Yep. And that's a great point too. And
even if
it comes to the AC, this is a big one, obviously in your market. In most markets, the AC is going to be the point of most concern. And even if it's something that's one of those R22 systems that everybody's familiar with in our industry, those can break down. And if you have a client that's buying one of those homes, it's about getting the right coverage as well. We do have an option that provides the right coverage for those clients. So even if they have a breakdown, in most cases, they don't have any out-of-pocket costs as well.
So drill down on that a tiny bit more, because I feel you're on the verge of saying something extremely important. We're dancing around the edge of that. So if that older system breaks down, there is a point where they're no longer repairable, and the entire system has to be replaced. So
exactly.
Does Super replace?
So for those newer agents out there who maybe aren't familiar with this, the R22 is a type of coolant used in HVAC systems that is federally outlawed because of various reasons. It's not available now as of 2020, I believe it was. So now that coolant is more scarce. They can't produce it anymore. It's going to be more expensive to actually just charge it with coolant versus replacing the whole system. So for that reason, folks that have those often can't get repairs. They have to get straight replacements when they have a breakdown. So when they're in that scenario, we do have an option called the HVAC incompatibility coverage. That allows for folks that are in that scenario to make sure that when they have a breakdown, we're going to replace the entire unit when as needed with the newer coolant standard. This is obviously important for that reason, because if you have an older unit, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars to replace that, even with coverage, if you don't have the right coverage for it. I usually use the example of like a home insurance, for example. I came from the Houston market. We unfortunately experienced some flooding there. And if you have home insurance on the home, great. But if you have home insurance on the home and not flood insurance, and then that home floods, you're going to be out of pocket a lot of costs. So you need to have the right coverage for your needs, and this is no different. And it's easy to find out too. Speak to your local rep with Super. We'll guide you to make sure that you have the right coverage for your needs, for one. But for two, oftentimes it shows it in the inspection report. We can teach you how to find that on the AC label, but use this as a resource. We often tell our agents in our communities, use this as a resource. We know our coverages. We'll make sure to partner with you and give you the right recommendation so that your client is in good shape. And hopefully that kind of touched on where you wanted to go with that.
That's exactly where I wanted to go.
If you want to expand more, we can.
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Thank you.
One thing I know from previous conversations with you as well too is just about the speed. We've talked about your service levels, the responses, the percentages of your clients that love you, that type of thing. But a lot of it's driven from speed and your speed of response. How are you able to react so fast when that isn't always
this is
the
a great
case?
question.
Yeah,
this is a great question. And part of it is with our relationship with our servicers. So we really want to provide a better experience for the servicers so that they're incentivized to pick up our claims faster. So what we do is when a claim comes into Super, that goes into our system, we automatically push that up. So think of Uber. When you request a ride on Uber, you don't have to sit around and try to find a driver nearby. It pings the local drivers that are nearby. You can see their rating. You know the kind of driver that they are. And you also, get pushed out really quickly. So you know that they're going to come on time. We do the same thing with our preferred partners. So not only are we vetting them to make sure that they're quality 4- and 5-star providers coming in, but we're tracking that kind of stuff. We're seeing once a claim comes out, how quickly are they confirming that appointment in our system. So that's why it allows for us to have, on average, about 16 minutes from the time that a client submits a claim to the time they have a confirmed appointment, because of the way that we interact with our technology and our servicers. Secondly, it pushes out, they can select the date that they want that servicer to show up on site. So they can select, hey, I want them to come out, it's a Thursday, hopefully they can come out Friday or Saturday. Now the servicer can confirm that, and then they'll be able to get on site faster. So our target is to get someone on site within 2 days, and typically we're able to meet that target. And then thirdly, they can submit the estimate directly in the app as well, the servicers can. And that allows for the expedited process as well. Many of our providers can resolve claims on the first visit. And if you don't mind, actually, I want to validate this with some data on the back end. So we talk a lot about the front end, about what makes us different. Well, we want to show that information to our agents as well. You touched on being top of mind and being a resource so that the agents can use us as a referral source, because we're connected to that client for at least 12 months. And then obviously as they renew for longer. So as long as they're a client of Super, your agents are going to be able to get this kind of data on their clients. So this is a claim that actually happened. I don't want to show too much because I don't want to show.
So hang on real quick. Hang on, Jean. I just want to describe this real quick for most of the audiences listening. For those on YouTube, you can actually see what Jean just pulled up on the screen. But for those that are listening, he logged into the Super website into an area that agents have a view. Could you describe a little bit about what you're showing on the screen?
Thank you for that. I appreciate that reminder. So yes, this is our agent portal, we call it. So once an agent signs into this, they'll be able to click in, see the properties for all the clients that they have referred. Once they click into this, they'll be able to see the services. So once a client completes service, they'll get an email notification, hey, John and Mary Smith completed service for their HVAC. Now, once they click in, this is the data that they'll see. So if you're on podcast, I would recommend you jump over to YouTube for this section so you can see what we're looking at, or sign into your website and you'll be able to take a look there. But from this screen, once they're into that service that the client had, and you'll see a list, as you can see on the screen, for those that are listening on audio, you'll see all of the services in order of what the client completed. This is an HVAC claim. You'll see the client submitted the claim at June 13th. This is a 2022, it's a little older, but it was at 6:38. And they had a confirmed, the date of that was secured was 1 day later. So actually not even 1 day later, this was in the evening. So the following morning, they had a confirmed appointment, and the appointment was for the 22nd. Now you might say, well, why is it so far out? Well, this is the subscriber's preferred time. So maybe they were out of town, they submitted it while they were out of town, or whatever the case may be. And that's what they wanted for that date. So it lets you know, okay, that's okay. It's not too far out. That's what the subscriber wanted. Thirdly, here, was the issue resolved on the first visit? Yes. And then how much money did they save? In this case, $331. So this allows for us to provide that transparency and accountability to the agent. So everything we talk about using the technology to provide a better experience, this is how we're doing it and servicing that data for the agents.
Wow. All right. So every
That's
agent,
cool to see.
so every
That's
agent
amazing.
has that portal. Yeah.
Every agent has access to that. They can sign in at HelloSuper. If you're a HomeSmart agent, you can sign in at hellosuper.com/HomeSmart. Realtors, any other realtor can sign in at hellosuper.com/real estate, and then just sign in right on there.
Perfect. Okay, so up on the screen here, I just put the landing pages. I'm gonna go back, show the main page here real quick. You'll see right there on the Super website, when you go to these URLs, there is a section that talks about plans, and there is a login section, and that's a login section either for the client, the consumer, to log in, but then next to it, there's a button right next to it says homeowner, and then it says realtor. So there's various places for real estate professionals to go, but the landing page that we would love you to go to is hellosuper.com. Really easy to remember. hellosuper.com/HomeSmart. So if you're a HomeSmart agent, go to hellosuper.com/HomeSmart. You can also, if you want to, go to hellosuper.com/real estate. If you're not a HomeSmart agent, it'll take you into, an amazing landing page there. We also
Absolutely.
have a phone number. Rich always is the great, he has a better voice for reading these types of things. Come on, Rich. I make him do this on every
He
podcast.
recently assigned this job to me. So, yeah, the phone number it's a toll-free number, 844-997-8737 or 844-99-SUPER. You can remember that, 844-99-SUPER.
And then lastly, if you would like some support via email,
Agent support at hellosuper.com.
There you go.
Rich, I see why he tasked you with that job.
See? See? I told you. All right. So the app, how does somebody get the app?
Absolutely, yeah. The app is currently for subscribers. So it's if you search in the App Store for Hello Super or in the Google Play Store for Hello Super, they'll be able to find the subscriber app. If you're a realtor, you can access it directly from your mobile webpage. There's not like a realtor app as of yet, but it's one that's available for the subscribers. And I like what you said too. I just want to jump back, Rich. You mentioned something at the very beginning, talking about, and both of you kind of touched on this, about the importance of having it as part of a transaction. I get over the past couple of years, when COVID happened and we had this aggressive sellers market, buyers agents and buyers themselves were trying to make as clean an offer as possible. And oftentimes home warranty fell off. And the example of that agent you gave, Todd, that's one of those things. So we're starting to get back to a normal market a little bit. So you're able to ask for that seller to pay for it. But a lot of agents I work with, even if you don't get it as part of the contract, a lot of agents are doing it in the due diligence period by using that in the clear. So they'll send the in the clear report and then come back and say, hey, we've got a couple issues. Why don't we get these some concessions and have the warranty paid for at that point? So that's another way that agents are using it to kind of get creative and still get it paid for by the seller. But as you mentioned, a ton of agents are doing it as a closing gift, which is making a lot of sense for homeowners because they're getting the benefit of having coverage as soon as they move in. And buyers, we can help buyers to get into. Oftentimes, if there's a situation where a buyer has, it's a tight deal, maybe they don't have as much funds to shell out for a $700 policy out of the gate, we have monthly plans available for buyers as well to ease that transition. And it's still going to be a better savings than obviously having, thousands of dollars in some costs due to HVAC, as you mentioned. So I just
like
wanted to
those
highlight that too.
strategies.
I appreciate you talking about
Yeah.
that at the beginning.
Yeah, because I do have the question. I often, I've asked you before, Rich. I said, why isn't a home warranty on every transaction? I still, or a closing gift if
Well,
you can't
yeah,
get the
and
seller to pay
I
for
think,
it.
and as agents,
'Cause-
as Jean just said, during COVID, when the market was going crazy, we as buyers agents were helping our clients get the properties, and we had to strip away everything
right.
Yeah.
out of the transaction. We didn't ask for anything, and in doing so, buyers didn't feel the value at the time. Many buyers, not all of them,
Right,
but
right.
many buyers didn't feel the value of a home
Yeah.
warranty and buying it themselves.
Right.
And we just got away from writing that in.
Yep.
It used to be just part of our DNA. I mean, we'd just start, typing in seller pays for a home warranty,
Right.
and
Yeah.
we're starting to get back to it. It was about a year ago, maybe 9 months ago, we started seeing sellers provide concessions, and it was a little bit of a joke with us as we were talking to the agents about it. Oh yeah, we're seeing concessions, things like a home warranty, which sometimes that doesn't seem like a big deal. It's not like providing 4 points towards the buyer's closing costs, right? In comparison, it's minimal, but it's still a concession, and it's
Yeah.
still valuable.
And part of the reason
in
too,
my
we
opinion,
talk.
it's critical
Yeah.
to reduce our liability, to stay in the clear. I didn't get
Yeah.
the pun early on. I do now. I love it.
Right.
See how it came full circle? But part of it too, and you touched on a lot of it too, is some of it was just market driven. But a lot of agents we've talked to kind of lost faith in the industry in a lot of ways because of the unknown pre-existing denials, because of the large out-of-pocket costs, even on approved claims, because of the poor quality service providers and the long delays in getting someone out. So they do, they do see the value in super because of all those reasons. We touched on the unknown pre-existing, using In the Clear to have that transparency, the technology and being able to get out there faster and have that accountability for the servicers, the predictability and the cost structure so that we have, 94%, as I mentioned, 94% of all claims have zero out-of-pocket costs. That's the type of experience people expect from home warranty. And that's what's bringing that value and the rush to partner up with Super.
And for a buyer, it just creates peace of mind.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yes. There's also 3 simple plans, right? Or 3 plans, right? One is called Simple,
Yep.
one's called Signature, one's called Lux. So, I mean, there's options there too. But I love what you said. It's peace of mind because it provides that blanket of protection that just can give assurances,
Yep.
right? So
That's it.
Well, Jean, thank you for being here with us today. Any final, thoughts? Anything you
No,
want to say
I'll
to
say,
our realtor
thank you guys
audience?
again for making some time for us and chatting with me. It's always great to talk with you both. So I appreciate seeing you again. I'd say for all the agents that are listening, go to hellosuper.com/homesmart or /real estate. Take a look at our coverages in the region. You can also scroll down on that page and connect with your local rep. I'd ask you to do that just so you can get acquainted with them if you haven't already, so that you can find out more about Super and find out what's going to be the best plans and coverage for your clients.
Right.
All right.
Perfect.
John, great information. Thank you for taking the time today.
Yep.
Thank you both.
And remember that in the clear, how to be in the clear and in the super grateful hearts of your customers forever. Very unique to you. So, Rich, you want to
Now it
ask
all
for
makes
some
sense.
thumbs up here?
I gotta
You gotta
ask
do it.
for the love. Ladies and gentlemen, if you found value in today's podcast and you're still with us, and if you're hearing this, you are still with us, then I want you to scroll down and give us a thumbs up. Jean will appreciate
Absolutely.
it because he'll know that you watched or listened. Todd will appreciate it because he loves to see the thumbs up and the love, and I need it for my fragile ego. So please give us a thumbs up, give us comments, good or bad. If we're hitting the nail on the head, let us know. If we're not, if we're missing the mark, let us know. We're here to serve you and to bring you the content that you want and need. So thanks for listening.
Yep. By the way, we would like to interview some of you agents around the country and tell some of your stories, maybe with some ideas as well. So send us an email, therealestate@homesmart.com, and tell us the topic, the idea, the tip, the trick, the tactic that you're using in your local area. And the team will get in touch with you, and we hopefully can have you on the Real Estate Podcast for everyone else to talk to you. So thanks for joining us today. We hope you've loved this episode here of the Real Estate. We'll see you back on future episodes as well. I'm Todd.
I'm Rich. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, John.
Like what you're hearing on the Real Estate? Tell your friends about us. Tell them to check out all of our episodes on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. And don't forget to send any topics you want us to tackle to therealestate@homesmart.com.